Alright, I want to give you guys a quick overview of a bait tank that I built. The idea of this tank basically came from some pay pond fishing and keeping bait alive a little bit longer. The ability to go out and catch your bait 1, 2, 3 days ahead of time and keep them alive. Went through several of the little bait tanks, Walmart bubblers, whatever, that basically had a hard time just keeping bait alive from the time to get there to fish to the time the fishing was over. So this tank goes over a few, pretty much covers a few of the main items required to keeping your bait alive longer. And not bad. I had about 150, 175 bucks in supplies, but I had to buy a lot of things. Some of you may have wire, nuts, hardware, bolts, all that good stuff. So this thing should keep them alive for several days, up to a week. It's basically a smaller version of something that a bait store would have. Pretty much gives you everything that a big bait tank would have in a smaller version. It fits on the back of your truck. So looking at the outside, over here just a small little eyelet with a carabiner to hold your net, keep it from losing it. On the top, basically you got here is just a electrical box that houses all your wires for the few components that work on the tank. Everything's sealed tight. You can leave this thing on the back of your truck, rain on it, whatever, you should be good to go. In the middle is basically a 4-inch PVC pipe that acts as the filter. So one of the main components in keeping fish alive is this here, which is ammonia rocks, activated carbon, whichever way you want to call it. Basically absorbs all the urine and the waste from the bait fish. When the fish are in there, they put off quite a bit of waste. Basically down in the bottom, past the ammonia rocks, you can't really see it, but it's a little 3-phase filtration system that is a coarse filter, a couple coarse filters to catch large items, and a small fine filter to thin out all the little things that may get down to your pump. Basically, you need a good filter system down in there to keep your pump from sucking up any of that trash. If you don't, you're going to be replacing pumps, which become very costly. To the right here's a little box, a little added feature that we put on here, and basically the box is pretty simple. Just houses a switch for the light. The tank has lights on it, obviously with most fishing being done at night. Beside the light is basically the second component, which is very important to keeping your fish alive, which is water temperature. So just a little digital thermometer that can allow you to monitor the temperature of the water and know when to add ice or all that good stuff to keep the temperature right. So on the other side here is basically how the tank is hooked up. Coming from the electrical box is basically one wire here, and it's got a nice little quick connect. Basically a 4-prong that hooks to most trucks, or most SUVs have some kind of 4-prong system to run trailer lights. That wire runs over to some alligator clips, which hook to your battery. On top of the battery and alligator clips, what I wanted to add was another wire which allows me to basically run the tank consistently while traveling when I'm not fishing. And basically what that is, we'll move this one out of the way. Basically what that is another separate wire here that also has the quick connects on it for hooking in right to the hitch of your truck. Most trucks have that. So little holder here just to keep the wire here on the tank, so you can hook up the wire here to your truck while you're traveling and not run your battery down, the extra battery that's used pretty much when you're fishing. So that wire is pretty nice to have. Also has a quick connect, so basically the pump and the whole tank runs off of this wire, and you just unhook the alligator clips and hook in the wire for the truck. So down there is just a drain plug with a ball valve to allow you to drain the tank. We'll take a look at the inside. So a couple components up here is the ammonia rocks are very important, which is stored inside the filter there. You got to have that, and water temperature, which the thermometer takes care of that part. On top's just a 3/4 inch piece of plywood, threw some stain on it, a little water sealer to keep it water protectant. All the boxes are waterproof, so you don't have to worry about any of your electrical components getting wet. And basically, lid flips up, and on the inside we'll take a look. It's 4-inch PVC pipe there that runs from the top all the way down to the bottom. At the very bottom of the pipe is your basically just a bilge pump down there. 500 gallon per hour is all it really takes to run it. To the right of that's basically how the it basically pumps out of the bilge pump through a little wire, little hose connector here. It has a pressure valve. The pressure valve so you can adjust the water flow on the spray bar. And basically you see the spray bar runs all the way around the tank, which is the third main component in keeping your bait alive, is to make sure they got plenty of oxygen. So this spray bar gives them that oxygen, collects oxygen after it leaves the spray bar. Between the spray bar and the surface of the water, it collects oxygen, and then when it hits the water, creates a bunch of air bubbles, which also has oxygen in it. Bait tank is pretty deep, a little bit bigger than what your average tank would be. Allows you to keep many fish in it. So we'll turn the lights off real quick. I'll show you the basically just an easy little light setup that it has. As I said, most fishing is done during the dark, so having lights is pretty important. We'll hook up the alligator clips. So basically, hooking up to the battery shows you pretty much how the spray bar works. Pretty simple. As I said, it collects oxygen from the spray bar down to the water surfaces and also creates all these little air bubbles. And again, this spray bar, the stream can be adjusted for delicate fish, or fish that you don't have to worry about the water pressure too hard. But for your delicate fish, there's basically your pressure valve there. You can adjust the pressure and how much pressure is going into the spray bar. So the lights are pretty much a must-have, and pretty much covers a few of the things needed to keep these fish alive for quite some time. Should, from what I've researched and what I've looked at, keep bait fish alive easily 3 days, but could easily get into a week of keeping fish alive. With the light on, you can see a little bit better how it's plumbed out. So we're going to turn the light back on. As you can see, it's pretty dark in here. Basically, I'll look back at the tank, but I'm in my basement and it is pretty dark. So, alright, so there you go. You got a pretty cool little bait tank. It's got the things needed to keep your fish alive, your bait alive. Like I said, it cost me about $150 in supplies. I didn't have a lot of the hardware, wiring, stuff like that. So stuff like that you may have. All waterproof, sealed up. Leave it on the back of your truck. It's ready to go. So should work out pretty nicely for what I'm pretty much going to use it for. So if you got any questions, just post them and I'll try to answer them back.